Hey everybody. So I wanted to make another short video discussing something that I've been having trouble with lately, and I'm sure that everybody else has as well. Um, in regards to the, Black Lives Matter uh, terrorist organization, basically, and just the woke culture. Um, I've always been a huge fan of art, whether it be music or, even down to podcast or, whatever. Just basically hearing somebody convey their thoughts in the way that they see fit and in a way that, expresses themselves and kind of only themselves with some originality. But lately, with everything going on the way that it has, you see a huge separation. Obviously, the country is kind of divided in two right now with the left and the right, and I don't see very many people acting as centrists anymore. You're either supporting Democrat, Democratic views or Republican views, and I mean even people that are libertarians are kind of swaying to one or the other. So in the midst of all this, it becomes hard to separate art from the artist when you have so many artists voicing their political opinions. Now, there's always been music like Rage Against the Machine or even Green Day or these bands that are politically motivated in some form. Growing up, I was a huge fan of Green Day. Um, was a huge fan of the American Idiot album. Um, Rage Against the Machine, not so much, but I did enjoy their music. If it was on the radio, I would listen to it or whatever. But now I find myself changing it when it comes on the radio because I don't even want to hear what kind of quantifies now is the want to break down society into some chaotic mess of resentment and hate of capitalism. And that's kind of what you're getting with a lot of these people is people just spouting their political views that are just recycled from the headlines, from the news that they've read, or whatever political echo chamber they happen to be in at that time. Um, for instance, one of my favorite bands of all time, Motion City Soundtrack. I love that band. Everything that they've ever put out, I've listened to every album, every song. Really regarded as like one of the most underrated rock bands of the 2000s. Really, really, really enjoy the music. I think Justin Pierre, their vocalist, is a poet. The way he says things amazes me sometimes. Now, I followed him on Instagram when I did have an Instagram still. I recently deleted that because I just couldn't. I don't know. Social media takes up too much time, but I digress. Justin Pierre was putting up posts about living in Minneapolis and supporting Black Lives Matter and putting up posts of, here you can donate to these bail funds and release these rioters from jail and just. But the one post that really bothered me, he was talking about how him and his daughter, which, she's a kid, and I want to clarify that he has the right as a United States citizen to raise his daughter in any way that he sees fit. He has the right to express his political views, and I'm not trying to say that he does not. Now, the post that bothered me and then led to an unfollow from my social media was he was talking about watching TV with his daughter, and she had asked something about what was going on with the riots, or as he called them, protests. And he explained to his daughter that there's a whole group of people out there that are discriminated against strictly by the color of their skin, and that the laws and things in this country are set up to be against them, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. At that point, you're indoctrinating your child to see the world a certain way and see the world through a lens that people are constantly discriminated against no matter what. That is not the case. It's just not the case. We in America live free. We have the most freedom out of any country in this world. And it just bothers me how much people fill other people's heads, whether it be their kids, whether it be their friends, whether it be their family, whether it be whoever. And this goes for teachers that teach at universities, or even down to elementary school teachers. My daughter actually, I believe she was in second grade. They had an election, and this was in 2016 when it was Hillary versus Trump. My daughter came home and told us, and we asked, well, you know, who are you going to vote for? And she said Trump. At that time, I was not very happy with either candidate. I would have just rather not voted, and that's what I did. I did not vote. But she went to school the next day, and when she got home, I asked, so who did you end up voting for? And she said, Hillary. And I said, well, why did you end up voting for Hillary? And she said, I don't know, all my friends and everybody voted for Hillary, so I figured I wanted to vote for her. And I know that it's just a silly elementary school mock election. It's just weird that we involve politics in schooling, and we, especially in a second grade classroom. These things are so complex that kids cannot understand. Kids cannot understand what is going on. So it almost seems incredibly biased and ignorant and just an uninformed thing to do, to ask a bunch of kids who they're going to vote for. I mean, I'm not sure how the best way to handle this is, and I don't mean to propose a problem without giving a solution to the problem. I just don't really understand why people expect kids to become involved. I mean, you see videos with people, these rioters in the streets, and I mean, a lot of the times I won't call these people rioters because they are just standing there with signs, so protesters. But there's kids holding signs that say fuck the police. There's kids that hold signs that say all cops are bastards. And these are small children, and people are filling their heads with these fallacies they're fallacies. That's what they are. They're not true. Not all cops are bastards. Yes, there's cops out there that are bastards. They're fucking assholes. They abuse their power. They make horrible choices. They judge a book by its cover. They don't use their power in a correct way, and I am totally in support of reformation of the police. I think that if our tax dollars are going to go to the police and go to a governing system to help assist with a civil society, then we should have more control over that, and we should be able to say that police need more training, and police need better training, and police need, in my opinion, they need to be tested mentally maybe every 6 months, to make sure that they're not acquiring racist beliefs, or that they're not, abusing power or losing their minds because they've seen 5-year-olds get shot and from drive-bys in Chicago. And, this is a taxing job that we are asking these people to do, but it's a job that is necessary. So, back to my point is, I've been having a lot of trouble lately with separating the art from the artist. And once again, like I said, I don't know what the solution is, to be honest with you. I unfollowed Justin Pierre from Motion City Soundtrack because it was just so blatantly ignorant that he would be teaching his daughter something that he himself lives in a suburban neighborhood that does not see any of this violence on a day-to-day basis, does not live in the shoes that these people walk in every day. It's just he just doesn't understand it, and neither do I. I know that everybody has their struggles, and everybody's struggles are different. But I don't believe that we should indoctrinate our kids. I personally do not speak to my daughter, or obviously my youngest. She's just a baby, but when she becomes of age to be conscious of these things going on, I will not teach her these things. I will not discuss them until she gets to be a certain age where she actually has a valid opinion on them, where she can look at both sides and say this is right or this is wrong or this is. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that are having the same issue that I'm having with separating the art from the artist, and it's a very, very tough thing to do. A lot of the music that I find that I found myself enjoying, 5 years ago, I can no longer enjoy now. And whether that be because of the content of the music, like I was a huge fan of Lil Peep when I was battling drug addiction. I can't listen to Lil Peep anymore because it's just a depressing form of music that makes you own that mind state, and that's not a healthy mind state to be in. It's not a healthy thing to think that you're just so down and out and that you're never going to get above anybody or, above anything, overcome these struggles in your life. As well as, other new rap music where it's just about selling drugs and violence. It's just about these inner city issues that, of shooting people and killing people just because they have what you want. I've said this, for a long time now, that one of the biggest problems I feel that faces any community, but especially the black community, is the culture. The culture is rotten at its core. Instead of uplifting people and speaking to a positive, most of these artists speak to the negative part of their society and part of their community, and it only fuels negativity. When a 12-year-old kid is listening to music that talks about shooting people and dealing drugs, and this is how I got out, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to kill this guy, or, whatever, that's the way that they see out. That's the way that they see themselves. I mean, everybody puts themselves in the shoes of the person that's in the song. We make ourselves into that character. We follow that character's characteristics. And I think that we all just need to kind of start to realize that. And these are views that I never in a million years thought that I would have when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. I remember being younger when the whole Eminem controversy over Kim, his song Kim, came out, and the Mothers Against Rap Music or whatever it was, and that whole thing, and I thought it was outrageous that they had gotten so upset. But now that I'm older and I have kids, I understand why people would be so upset, because I don't want my children to take these songs for any more than they are, and they're just songs. You don't have to live your life by the music. You don't have to live your life by somebody else's words or somebody else's expression, and everybody has a right to express these things, and I'm not saying that that people shouldn't make these songs. I just think that there should hopefully be a parent or a guardian of some sort to explain that they are just songs, and that you don't have to live by them. You don't have to follow these beliefs. This is just a story. And even moving on to, I said about podcasts, I was a huge fan of Joe Rogan. I still am a huge fan of Joe Rogan. But recently I've seen I believe it's his most recent podcast with Brett Weinstein, where he made some off comment about Fox News, and then said that the man that was shot at the Wendy's parking lot for drunk driving, that he wasn't a criminal, he wasn't a murderer, he wasn't a rapist. And at that moment, I had to pause it and shut it off, because he was a rapist. He was a criminal. He was somebody that was not benefiting society. And just because you make the point that, oh, well, he even asked the officers to call him an Uber instead of arresting him. When you make a choice to endanger everybody around you and drive drunk, you make that choice. So therefore, you inherit that negative outcome if you get pulled over. You play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You drive drunk, you get arrested. That's, you know what I mean? And I mean, you might get away with it. I got away with it a lot of times when I was coming up, but I don't know. I just don't believe that that's the way we should handle things. We can't let people get off with driving drunk. He could have pulled out of that Wendy's and killed a family. He could have done so many other things, and instead of just accepting that I drove drunk and I got caught, I made my choices, put the handcuffs on me and take me to jail. As soon as those handcuffs went on, it became a totally different thing, and he was willing to take the lives of those officers. And we put those officers there just in case somebody does have that mentality where they will take a life in order to protect theirs. And I'm not against that either. If somebody's endangering your life, you know, I believe in the right to protect yourself. But when you're endangering everybody around you and your surroundings, and officers come to arrest you, comply. That's it. And there's just, I don't know. I'm kind of getting off track here, but my point is, it's really, really hard to appreciate a lot of media now, and appreciate a lot of music now for me, because I can't listen to rap music, and that's one of my favorite genres, because it's just so fucking negative. It's just so negative. And it's hard for me to appreciate a lot of podcasts now, because when you do your research and you don't follow just headlines, and you start to read into what is really going on, and, you know, you don't just follow left-wing media, and you don't just follow right-wing media, and you look at both of them and take the truth from, you know, from facts that you research yourself, it just becomes hard to appreciate media whenever you see something being said that is wrong and realizing how much of an impact it actually has. Joe Rogan has millions of followers on any platform, Twitter, Instagram, just YouTube. Millions of people heard that, and millions of people now think that guy, the Wendy's guy, wasn't a criminal. And he was a criminal. Things become skewed when uninformed people talk about situations. And I just think that if you are going to speak about something, you should educate yourself on it, I guess, first. Now, in the next breath on that podcast with Brett Weinstein, he said, "No, I'm not a political guy. Don't take your politics from me. I don't know what I'm talking about, blah, blah, blah," which is great. I'm glad he said it. But at the same time, if you're going to bring it up, if you're going to have somebody on your podcast that is political, you should probably do a little bit of research to find out what is really going on and what the truth is. Don't follow just one news source. Look into multiple things, because the media lies to you. That's it. You know, they have things that they are chasing after, that they are trying to push, narratives they're trying to push, and they will sacrifice the truth in order to get that narrative across. Just do your research. And when it comes to enjoying art or not enjoying art that you've enjoyed for years and years and years, I don't have the answer to that. I just kind of wanted to talk about it, because as I said, I've really been struggling with that lately. I can't enjoy a lot of art anymore, and a lot of the people that I looked up to and idolized for whatever reason, their way with words or what they're saying or what, I find myself now almost despising those people because they are just so uninformed, and they are just so blatant about being uninformed, and they're talking so loud to so many people, and it's a shame. You know, in the end of all of this, black, white, Asian, I don't care. We are the human race, and we need to all accept that. There's good and bad in every person. Some people have more bad than good. Some people have more good than bad. Some people just don't give a shit, and they will take your life, or they will take what they want from you, and they don't care. And unfortunately, a lot of those people have been propped up as heroes lately in the media, and that's a scary thing, you know, especially when you have kids coming up in the world, and you don't want them to idolize these people or think that they are justified in committing the crimes they were committing when their life was taken. And a lot of times, these people, these celebrities, they're not worried about you, and they're not. Every time a celebrity talks, don't think that they're worried about you. They're not. They could give a fuck about you. They don't care. What they care about is their platform, their voice, their career. If they come out and say that they're against Black Lives Matter or against Antifa, immediately they get canceled because this leftist culture of woke, this woke culture comes from the left, so they immediately lose thousands of people on their side, and that's what they're afraid of. They're not afraid of telling you a lie. They're afraid of losing their career, and that's a shame. A lot of people sacrifice integrity for popularity, and I guess a lot of people are just ignorant and they don't know any better. But alright, so I'm running out of time, but thank you guys for watching. I'd like to start making more videos, just kind of discussing these thoughts, freeform. I don't really, I don't have any editing software or anything, and I don't really care to edit anything. If I make a mistake, everybody does, so, comment, let me know what you think, and I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks.